Cam Smith joins us for another exclusive Garnet Trust interview. And Cam, I was just joking with you before we started this. I was covering you at Westwood when I was back at Watch Fox, and you're making me feel old, man. You're making me feel old. Is it crazy sometimes to think how fast time has gone by since that moment that you made that commitment after that Westwood game?
Yeah, it does feel like just the other day I just committed, just had took off the shirts, did the reveal and everything, and just had got on the campus not too long ago. But seeing it like coming to a full swing, like I'm already in my senior season, it's crazy.
Bring us back to that, because we hear so much about the guys that stay in state, right? I mean, how important that is for them. Was that something that motivated you early on in your recruiting process, or was it something like, you know what, at some point there was just a light bulb that kind of went off saying, you know what, this feels right to stay home here?
Once I started like going into my sophomore year, once I started going to camps and stuff like that, like I was making sure like every time, even though I was still in Maryland, I was coming down here, going to South Carolina camp, making sure I was like getting my name down in the Southeast and stuff like that. So when I came back, like having them already on my case, like knowing who I was, stuff like that, that was big. So when I got the offer, I was already made up. Like soon as that he gave me that call, I was good. Like I could have told him I could have committed right then and there, but I wanted to at least like make it a little skeptical at some points in the recruiting process. But yeah, I ain't gonna lie. Me staying home was big.
And how important is it to fall in love with the campus, right? Fall in love with the program itself, because I think so many people, it doesn't even matter what level they've played on. If you've never played college football, I don't think they truly understand that, you know, you could have a coach that comes in there and, you know, there's a possibility that they could leave. I mean, it's part of a business. You know that there's a possibility that you could get hurt at any given time. How important was it for you to fall in love with the university? And were there anything in particular? I mean, I know obviously the ops building was brand new. Was there anything that really stood out to you that said like, man, like this is special?
Really from the jump, just being from here and going to state championship games at Williams Brice and going to state championship games at Colonial Life. I've always been around the campus and stuff like that. So I've always knew my way around, knew all the buildings and stuff like that. So falling in love with it, I was already in love with it before I had the opportunity to come.
Does mom's cooking? Does that help out a lot? I mean, some guys feel like, hey, I'm a little too close for home. Was that ever something in your mind?
I mean, it's not too bad. I mean, she worked right down the street. So I mean, like anytime I leave something at home, I need something from home, she right down the street, she can come bring it to me before she go to work, after she get off and stuff like that. So that's handy to have. And then just being able to go home, being close to my daughter and stuff like that, just that's the biggest part about that. That's the best part about it, really.
You mentioned your daughter. What has that been like? Just being able to not only experience something that changes your life, you know, and it's very special, but you're also juggling essentially what is a career, because this is something that you want to be able to take further past college. So how is balancing daddy life as well as, I mean, shooting, not just balancing two things, balancing three things, being a student athlete as well?
I mean, it's been just a lot of times I had to sit down and actually start planning stuff out and looking forward in the month and in the week to do stuff to make sure that stuff falls in line so I don't have anything that's overlapping and stuff like that. So I've been trying to be more prepared, like being proactive instead of reactive against a lot of things, just trying to stay on top of everything.
Josh Van having his daughter not too not too long ago. I think it was leading up before the Duke's Mayo Bowl. What kind of advice have you had to given him, and how's he handling things, you think?
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, through the whole season, Josh been giving me advice, like even before we knew that he was having one. So he been giving me advice, just telling me like just little things that he been talking about, like with his girl and stuff, about stuff, just little things that he's been just passing on to me. That's been big. And I just been telling him, like, it just goes fast. Like one day she's small and one day she just chunked up. She just big as I don't know what. So I can't really tell you how to manage that time, but that time you're gonna need that, because that time is scarce.
How do you find that time to be able to juggle that? I mean, I'm sure Coach Beamer, the coaching staff, they want you to be around your daughter as much as possible, because when we see it with him, you know, we see it with his coaching staff, just how much he's around his family and how much he likes to be able to bring the kids up to the ops building. How do you juggle that, right? Like you go to practice, you watch film, you go to class. Is it like when you have that downtime, maybe the downtime back in the day when you would take those naps or, play some video games with your teammates? Is that the time now that you put off to the side for her? Like, how do you balance it during the season?
Really, it depends on what her mom wants to do and stuff like that during the week. Like that's what I've been talking about, like having to prepare stuff throughout the week because sometimes she has work. Maybe she has to have her somebody watch her from 7 to 3 in the morning or something like that while she goes to work or something like that. So I like coordinate my pops stuff like that, get everything set up. So if she has to have him, then once I get out of workouts around 12 or something, I go down there, go get her, have her until I got class or something like that. And then like I said, my mom right down the street. So I just go take it to my mom. My mom can take it back home and then I'm good. But I mean, from just free time things, I really just go after class, stuff like that. I get out of class around 5. So it's just the rest of the day after that.
Now you head into this year and there's a lot of buzz going on externally about just the expectations people have for you. I mean, this is a position exactly that, I mean, tell me if I'm wrong, this is exactly what you wanted to do. You wanted to be in this position. You wanted to be that's closer to, that step away from being able to make it to the NFL. How much does having your daughter now add that extra motivation? And how is just your growth since arriving at South Carolina, her birth, and now getting to this point? How is your just perspective and just from just being a man, how much have you really grown these last couple of years?
My perspective is really widened on a lot of things, just like how I would normally react and be like a hothead on some things or like stuff like that. I'll just really think about it. I'll sit there and try to think about it before I even react to anything because I got to think about how that's going to affect her. Like, is that going to affect her in the long run or how is that going to affect her right now? So I have to make sure that those things and stuff like that. So that's the part I'll say I've grown and grown from the most is just being more mature about certain situations to where I don't react to where something can mess me up.
How do you handle that buzz that goes on the outside? Because I mean, shoot, we're all human, and everyone can say they ignore the outside noise as much as they want. But I mean, you're around your phone, you see stuff, people tag you and stuff. How do you push that off to the side, knowing that hey, that's great, but I got to take care of my business this year, and then be able to take that next step so that come time this or this time next year, I'm in position to be, going to the combine. I'm in position to be able to going up the draft stocks and being able to impress NFL teams like some of your teammates that you play with this past season are doing right now.
I just really just take it as like I told you so. Really, I at the beginning of the season, I let everybody know like how I was coming, what it was gonna be, and everything like that. So just coming like all the accolades and everything, the praise and stuff like that. Now, like it's just like the fruits of my labor. Like I'm just eating all the fruits of my labor.
Having the opportunity to play with some really good defensive backs over the last couple of years. I mean, what's your relationship still like to this day with guys like J.C. Horn, Izzy Mukwamu, and then obviously this past season, I know he plays more safety near your corner, but being able to learn from a guy like Jalen Foster, even though his journey was different from yours, but being able to just see how he handled adversity and being able to become an All-American this past year.
I talk to them boys. I wouldn't say every day, but like mostly probably like every once in a week, probably like that, once every 2 weeks, just wrapping it up, just like seeing where the focus at, stuff like that, like how we're doing and stuff like that. But just tag along on what you said, like learning from them boys is just crazy the way they look at the game, the way they break the game down. I would say out of all of them, I'd say Falls probably was the smartest one. Just looking at film, breaking film down, like knowing what things was gonna happen. Like he would tell me on the field, like when something was gonna happen, or keying when something was gonna happen, and it just made the game way easier having him behind me.
Does it give you that added motivation knowing that shoot? I mean, we've had guys, not just guys that have come through here. I mean, you can go back to obviously Stephon Gilmore and Captain Munnerlin, but the fact that you played with some of these guys and they're playing in the NFL, and then obviously Foster right now is trying to take that next step too. But not just guys that you've played with, but in your meeting rooms too. I mean, how much does that motivate you saying like, shoot, I know I can do that as well?
And just being in the room with them boys that's just give you the motivation right there. Like just being in the same room, being on the same practice field as them boys, wearing the same jersey as them boys, but like doing everything the same. You're doing the same thing, everything, same workout, same all of this. Like you're doing the exact same thing. So why not have that motivation that you can do everything that they're doing because you in the same position?
You had the injuries this year. How did you how are you able to just stay focused with that? How are you able to persevere and push through? Because I'm sure on the outside it looks like, all right, he's handling his business, but I'm sure there's some low points that, either from a media perspective or fan perspective, we don't see every day.
Yeah, I mean, like when I first got the news that I had fractured my foot, I didn't really like know what to do. I just broke down. Like at that point, I didn't really know what to do. Like that was my first real injury for real. Like aside from when I had to get stitches in my foot, like that was really the only thing. So just like that was really the lowest point I've ever been in my athletic career. I called coaches, like called the psychiatrist and stuff like that. I was just talking to everybody and stuff like that. I just didn't feel like I never been out for that long to where like I'm not doing anything. Like I'm not really around the team as much, stuff like that. So like it really hurt me. It made me feel like I really wasn't like doing nothing to help the team at that point. Like I was just there just to be there. So like just coming in trying to like work as work as hard as I could to get back. I feel like I kind of messed myself up at the same time, but I feel like that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to come back. Like, I wanted to do all of that stuff, so I can't say nothing about nobody else that's on me. But just going throughout the season, like just that it was nagging me and stuff like that, but it just never kept me down because I knew I was good. Like I knew I can come back. Like it's just gonna be minor for right now, stuff like that. So just kept a positive mindset about it. Try to keep playing.
You're feeling good right now? Feels good?
Mhm. Yes, sir.
Can you explain to people just the mental side of that when you come back from an injury, especially a lower body injury? Because I think people, and everyone knows everyone's bodies, they heal differently. But you come back, you're feeling good, you're clear to go, but trying to be able to teach yourself again, like, hey, look, I can trust myself. I can trust every cut I make. How difficult was that at times? And do you feel like you've got to a point now where you feel good, doing these winter workouts and getting ready for spring ball?
I feel like Clint and Coach Day doing the returning the play protocol stuff like that. I feel like they put me in a lot of positions to where like even on the field I probably wouldn't even be in that position, but I've done did it so many times that I know I can do that and I know it's not going to hurt doing that and stuff like that. So just they put me in a lot of real life situations, cutting, breaking, stopping, going like just everything to make sure that I was good before I even started to go back to practice. So when I got at the practice, I was full go. I was full confidence, everything. I was 100%.
As a veteran, just seeing the culture shift within just 1 year. I mean, what has that been like? What have you noticed since day one of when Shane Beamer arrived last year to where this team is now and heading into spring football?
I can see a lot more buy-in even from last year, how we bought in during the spring. I can see just a little bit more. I just see like within the whole skill set, the whole not skill set, skill players, all the wide receivers, DBs. Like I just see a different lock-in from the receivers now, and I see a different lock-in from all the other corners and all the other safeties. Like I don't understand what it is right now, but I feel like during the season I can probably give you a better answer on that.
You talk about just the defensive backs that you guys have been able to produce and just the talent that you guys have been able to produce this year, right? This past year, what you guys are able to do in terms of taking that next step and being able to get back on track with things. What can you say about playing in the defensive scheme like Clayton White, and why does that just work for you guys once you guys were able to pick up that 4-2-5?
I would say it's a lot of moving pieces for a quarterback to look at. So just having all of those moving pieces and trying to figure out what coverage it is pre-snap, because having it after the snap is not going to work. You got Jordan Strong and JJ sitting outside. You got Zach and Barry inside. I mean, you ain't got too much time. So having just knowing once we really figured it out and figure out the disguises and just the motion shifts and things that teams were going to do to us just because we were in that 4-2-5, like it just made everything more flow way easier. And it just made the secondary just play for way faster.
And being someone that grew up in this era, remembering that buzz from about you're probably around 10 years old at the time when this program was at one of the highest points that it's ever been. The Steven Garcia days, the Lattimores, feeling the buzz right now. Can you feel that? Can you feel what's going on externally right now? And how much does that excite you, especially being a local guy? But how much does that excite this team heading into this year?
I feel like now that we had that buzz, I feel like it's a lot more people that's behind us. But at the end of the day, that never phased us because we were always together. Like no matter what, we're gonna stay together above all else. We're gonna love our brother. So just stand the course. Just don't even really listen to the outside noise because at the end of the day, if we win or lose, that opinion is gonna change. But that love not gonna change between us because we just so locked in.
Cam, last thing I got to ask you. Your boy Ernest Jones last night being able to get a Super Bowl win. I mean, how neat is that? I mean, this guy, 22 years old, drafted in the 3rd round. First year, he's a Super Bowl champ. I mean, there's guys like Randy Moss that go their entire career and they don't get a ring. And not just the fact that he gets a ring, and also Kyle Markway as well. Congratulations to him. But Ernest balled out. What is that like being able to see one of the guys that you played with, a buddy of yours, be able to ball out at on the grandest of stages in football?
It just give you a certain a better, I don't know if it's a better understanding, but a better experience to the game. Just seeing him being out there trying to looking for what he gonna do, looking at him the whole time, really just following what he doing when he making a play. It just makes you way more excited just having somebody that you know that's on that field. But I don't really understand how he's gonna feel about that Super Bowl, but he played his ass off. He deserved that one.
What you mean you don't know how he's gonna feel? I mean, we see he's one of those guys. He's he seems like the dad in the group. He was just
that's what I'm saying. That's how his Uncle Ern. That's what we call him, Uncle Ern. Yeah. So I don't understand. I don't know how because he ain't never really show emotion unless we was going into a big game and stuff like that. He was just always calm and collected, just in his zone.
So let me ask you that. I said that was the last question, but what did you learn? If there's one thing that you learned from Ernest Jones that has helped you during your playing career, because obviously that happens so much throughout college football, right? You see your teammates, see how they work. What's maybe one thing that you took away from how he handled his business at South Carolina that you feel like can help you and just help other teammates on at USC?
Really just be a businessman every day. That's really the only thing he really ever said was just be a businessman about everything. It's a lot of off the field stuff that happens to people and stuff like that. You might not know, but when you come in the building, just make sure you handle your business and do what you're supposed to do in that building and make sure that you're good. Stuff like that. It's just a lifestyle thing about it. Just making sure that you're good, in your workplace. You make sure you don't disrespect nobody. Make sure you just live right. Stuff like that.
Now, Uncle Ern, you know what's going to happen now? I mean, I told you, you're making me feel old. That means you're getting a little bit older. So they're going to start calling you Uncle Cam. Uncle Cam's going to be coming around here. Cam Smith, we appreciate you hopping on. If you want to help out, support student athletes like Cam Smith, be sure to check out the Garnet Trust. You can visit thegarnettrust.com to be able to learn more about that, as well as see our other interviews and events that we do to help support Gamecock student athletes. Cam, we appreciate you taking the time. Look forward to seeing you this spring. Wishing you, your family, your daughter, nothing but the best, and wishing you a healthy and successful 2022 season.
Appreciate you.